Cooking Crave, brought to you by Emg Lending, your area's #1 choice for home loans. 456loan.com.
All right. Coming up on today's show, we have Kuchen from scratch. That's all coming your way next. Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Rhonda Fitterer.
And I'm Laverne.
And we have Kuchen today.
We do.
And we're doing it from scratch.
We are.
There's a lot of steps to this recipe, but it's not hard.
Correct.
You just have to have time.
With time
and patience.
And patience and a little bit of know-how. I know you've never done it, never made dough from scratch, so it's kind of sounds like a task, but it's not.
You can buy these things too. You can bribe your family members to make it for you too.
Yeah. That's what mom's for, right?
If you want to cook along with us today, just write down these ingredients. For the dough, you're going to need 2 packages of yeast or 3 tablespoons, a cup of lukewarm water, a half a cup of sugar, 4 eggs, a cup of sugar, 1.5 teaspoons of salt, a cup of oil, 4 cups of warm milk, a tablespoon of lemon or vanilla flavoring, 10 cups of flour, and then for the topping, you're going to need 6 cups of cream, 12 eggs, a cup of sugar, 2 tablespoons of vanilla, and then fruit or cottage cheese of your choice.
Correct.
All right.
That didn't take so long.
Okay. All right. Where do we want to get started?
Well, we want to get the dough made.
Okay.
And like I said, we did say 10 cups of flour. That's a starting point. I like to start it with about that 10, 12 cups. And I can always add more flour. You don't want to put too much flour in and then you end up having too stiff of a dough.
Okay.
And this is a sweet dough recipe, you know, like you use for kuchen or, you know, buns or something like that. So it's a little bit different than regular bread dough.
Okay.
First, we want to get our yeast going. I have a cup of warm water, and I'm putting my finger in here. It's still just nice lukewarm water, and that's what you want. You want to make sure that you never have too hot of water because it'll kill your yeast.
Okay.
So just lukewarm water, and that helps it, you know, to rise. So I got the lukewarm water, and I'm going to put some sugar in there, and that sugar helps with it rising faster too. So,
okay.
And I don't buy the packaged yeast. I always buy it in bulk. So 2 packages of Fleischmann yeast would be about 3 tablespoons. So
okay.
That's what I start with here. So let's just
so I know you said lukewarm, you know, and hot water will kill the yeast. If you use cold water, just it does not set up then?
It doesn't rise very quickly, or with the warm water, it rises quicker.
Okay.
So if you have cold water, it just isn't going to rise very fast.
It's not going to harm it. It just going to take longer.
Correct.
Gotcha.
And that warm water just kind of helps activate that yeast though too. So
okay.
So we get that mixed, and we're going to just set that aside. And when that rises, this is pretty much going to cover this picture here. It's going to rise to the top. So
okay.
Now I have 4 cups of, and I've got warm water here. 4 cups of milk. I shouldn't say warm water. 4 cups of milk that I did make it warm.
Okay.
Again, if you have warm ingredients, it just makes the dough rise faster.
Okay.
So you want to do that. So the dough recipe here, we're going to, in fact, I did measure this out, and I have like about 11 cups of flour right here.
Okay.
So I'm going to put them in there. You want just make sure you start with a big bowl. And it's hard finding big bowls anymore.
It is.
It isn't like it used to be or whatever. So so I've got the milk, and then we're going to, what I will do is we're just going to add it all in here and mix it. I have a cup of sugar.
Okay.
Mix there, and about 1.5 tablespoons of salt, and a cup of oil.
And is it, I mean, I know that you grew up baking, and this is something that you grew up with, you know, making when you were young.
Correct. Yes, we just made our dough, and there wasn't so much as recipes. You just kind of knew, and you just put in, and you felt it, how the consistency and stuff, you know, and that's just the way it was.
Yeah, trial and error.
Yes. So, and then we're also going to we're going to put a tablespoon of lemon flavoring in that dough too. You
Okay.
can use the lemon or vanilla.
Do you base that based on what type of fruit that you're going to use, or if it's going to be cottage cheese, or do you prefer the lemon?
It's not going to make a difference to what kind of fruit you're using if you use lemon or vanilla. I just
Okay.
prefer the lemon. That's
Okay.
just me. So we're also going to put 4 eggs in there. So I'll crack my eggs, and then we'll just put them in there, and we'll just get them mixed up. And there is certainly different, you know, your dough recipes are going to be quite similar to, there's not going to be such a variation out there for people that grew up making Kuchen or, you know, staples. So any sweeter dough recipe is going to work.
Okay.
And I'm actually starting with red flour. I like
Okay.
because you know it rises a little bit and easier and stuff. But one thing too, you know, when we're rolling out the Kuchen, we don't want a thick dough because we want base. I mean, you know, not so much bread because till you put your filling and that on, you want some good filling in there.
Sure.
So I have today. What we're going to do, I have some peaches.
Okay.
I had some frozen peaches. Because it's not peach season. We love peach Kuchen. And so I did that. I took them out, and I put a little bit of, I heated it up, and I put a little bit of cornstarch in there just to thicken for juice. When I freeze peaches, I don't add any liquid or whatever, but they're going to be juicy. So we don't want that filling too juicy. We're going to make some cottage cheese.
Okay.
You want the dry cottage cheese if you can get that, which is very hard. And then we're also going to make prune, which, you know, we always had prune and we loved it. So
Sure.
that's still something. And so it's any flavoring you want. You can cut up apples. You can, you know, apricot. There is so many things, different toppings you can put on there.
Sure.
And then I had someone tell me that they just use like a brown sugar crumble topping on theirs, which that would be good too. So
Yeah. Whatever you like.
whatever you like and stuff. So, and it's always nice to hear from different people to say how they do theirs
Yes.
and stuff, and that's good. And a lot of the doughs will actually, some of them will ask for water. I like to use milk. It seems, I'm not really quite sure if well, you give it a little bit more nutrient in there too with the milk versus the water.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we always had milk growing up.
Right.
Now, one thing too, if you don't have a lot of milk, use powdered milk and stuff. It just, you know, why not? So we're going to put this in here because that's all mixed up in there. And as our viewers are seeing, our yeast is starting to rise. It's pretty good, but I do want to have it rise a little bit more than this.
Okay.
So, what we're going to do while we're waiting is we're gonna for the topping, we're going to start with 12 eggs and 6 cups of cream because we have a lot of dough. You're going to make about 15 to 20 Kuchen here.
Okay. Can you make this recipe smaller, or you just like to bake?
Well, we never started small with anything.
I think you could cut this in half, though, couldn't you?
I absolutely, you could.
But if you're going to do this, you're just going to do
Yeah.
it.
You're going to do it. And the thing is, it freezes, Kuchen freeze as well. And, you know, I got kind of a hint that, you know, moms can give their daughters some or however. So by the time you divvy it out, it's not so much.
Okay.
When it comes to
Bake
it.
away, Ma.
Yeah, that'll say, how come I thought we had more? So, and we'll just say, it's all gone. I dropped a shell in here, unfortunately. That's why I usually like to put that start in a cup. See, there we go. Break it in a cup. So
And you said 12 eggs.
12 eggs. So I hope that you're going to count for me.
Oh, I can count yolks. Okay.
Oh, well, okay.
And you know, there's some different size eggs here. We got some farm fresh eggs that you're using. Does it matter so much?
Not really. It's going to all even out if one's a little bit bigger than the other. But yes, these farm eggs definitely are a little bit bigger than even the large in the grocery store that you get. And if you are having medium ones, I would, you know, you could add another egg or two. So we're doing pretty good here.
I don't know. 9, 10, 11, 12.
Okay.
There you go. It's a lot of eggs.
It is. But we have a lot of dough, and we're going to, like I said, we're going to make. And you want to be generous with your fillings, you know, with your topping and your fruit. That's what makes it so good. And, you know, it is kind of, too, like kind of an art with making this. And different functions we have here locally. You know, you go to the home show, or I maybe shouldn't say maybe the home show as much, but some, because those are more, you know, for the spring, for gardening and all that. But like our Women's Expo and stuff, we have people there that are selling Kuchen and stuff, or Dakota
Pride of Dakota shows, yep.
Yes. And, you know, it does take time to make it. And sometimes you think, oh, $10, $12 for this, you know, pie plate of Kuchen seems like a lot. But there's a lot of time and effort that goes into making that too. And people, so many people don't do that. So
and there's some people that don't know how to make their own dough.
That's correct. So what I do then, I want a microwavable bowl for this. I got the 12 eggs. We're going to add 6 cups of cream, and actually this is what this is going to be. Then this actually goes into the microwave, and we're going to cook it till it's thick.
Oh, okay.
So we'll be doing that when the dough is ready to go. And one thing to remember when you're making dough, the longer you work it, the better it is.
Okay.
So I probably won't show 20 minutes of kneading my dough, but that's usually what I go by.
Okay.
Is that so? So it's
it's cooking and a workout.
It is. I have to get that work out in there to combat the calories from the Kuchen that I might eat. So we have. And I'm also going to add about a cup of sugar into this here too.
Okay.
But I'm going to just set this aside for now, and we'll get that into the microwave later. I don't need to do that quite yet, but we've got it mixed up, ready to go. The viewers have seen what I do here.
Okay.
So that's blended well. And our yeast definitely is.
Yep, it's getting up there.
Getting up there.
It's sneaky. I'm watching it every so often.
So I'm going to just set that over there. And, you know, I do want to give that it's going to just take a couple more minutes. So we'll just come back with the viewers as soon as have that.
All right.
That is ready to go.
Sounds good.
Stay ahead of the game with Emg Lending, North Dakota's #1 choice for home loans. Let Jay and his home loan specialist help you when it comes to purchasing your new home or refinancing your existing one. Make the smart choice. Call Emg Lending at 456-LOAN. That's 456-5626.
Call 456-LOAN right now.
no.
Our yeast, yes, has risen really nice. So we do know that the yeast is going to, it's active, and we're going to have a nice bread raise in this here.
So if you skipped that step and you didn't let that yeast rise, what would happen?
You wouldn't get the full effect of yeast the way it needs to. Your dough would not be light and it wouldn't rise very good. So you certainly want that. So of course, just gonna mix with my hands because that's the way I get the feel of it. And I certainly do know that I'm going to need to be adding more flour to this, but I like to get that wet ingredients incorporated in this well before I add more flour, that it's going to be a little bit harder to work with.
Sure. And like you said, this is just a starting point. I'm sure based on the size of the eggs and, I mean, the cream and the other wet ingredients,
right,
what you're putting in here, but no two doughs are ever alike, I would think.
It's very difficult to say, oh, you need 12 cups of flour and that's it. It's not that, like you said, it's the variation in the eggs, and sometimes you might have a little bit more liquid when you're measuring. In the yeast, we put a cup of water in that, 4 cups of milk, whatever. So if I think I want a little bit more, I might add a little bit more. So we can see that the dough is quite sticky. So I'm gonna come here and we're just gonna slowly add a little bit of flour there. But don't put too much in it. Like I said, it's always easier to add more flour. You can't take it away. And to add wet, and, add a little bit more milk into something like this, it doesn't work.
Okay.
So.
This isn't something, like when you're cooking, that you can improvise a little bit. This, with baking and baking from scratch with dough, you kind of need to be a little bit more precise.
That's correct. So actually that scoop of flour that I add in there, that's about all I want to add to this, because now when I put it out on the counter and I'm going to work it and knead it, it's going to take a little bit more flour. So I don't want to put too much in here and then have more than I really want to.
Sure.
So you just want a clean surface there. So, and then I'll clean out my bowl. And when I do put the dough back in here to have it rise, I always put a little oil in my bowl and the lid so it doesn't stick.
Oh, okay.
And stuff. So our viewers can see, what the consistency of this dough is like. So now just kind of estimating, starting with that, I probably have maybe 12 to 13 cups of flour. So
okay.
So like I said, when I usually like to start at that 10, just to make sure that I don't get too much flour in there.
Sure.
And as you see, when you knead the dough, it absorbs takes some of that flour in there too. So you don't want to make it, like I said, too stiff.
And I'm sure many of our viewers are right here along with you. They know how to make their dough. But if you're talking to novices like, me, so you said you're going to knead this dough for about 20 minutes.
About 15, 20 minutes, yeah, I will. So.
And if you did not do that, what would happen?
What would happen? I mean, Grandma just told me the longer you knead it, the better it is.
Okay.
So.
I think she just needed to give you something to do so you didn't get into trouble.
Well, I don't know about that, but that could be part of it. But yes, any recipe, when you look into it, they will say knead your dough a good 10, 15 minutes.
Okay.
So if I think 10, 15 minutes is good, 20 minutes is better.
Okay.
So as our viewers
Words
see
of
now,
wisdom according to Laverne.
So as our viewers can see what the consistency of this dough is like, it's a nice, soft,
Yep,
pliable,
not sticky.
pliable dough. And I'm going to go ahead and work it a little bit more. And then we're going to let it rise and punch it down. And then,
We'll show the viewers how once it's risen, how you punch it down.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes.
We'll be back shortly then.
Okay. Well, our bread, we did, it's doubled again. We punched it down and it's risen and stuff, so it's ready to go. So that looks like it's really good. I did cook in the microwave, put the eggs and cream and that little bit of sugar in, and I forgot to show that we did put 2 tablespoons of vanilla in there. We want vanilla flavoring, so just to remember that we put the 2 tablespoons of vanilla in with the egg and cream mixture.
Okay. Was it vanilla or was it lemon?
We put a tablespoon of lemon in the bread dough.
Ah, that's what it was.
Yep, right.
Okay, I'm quizzing you here.
See if I remember what I did, huh? Okay. And I'll grease my hands just a little bit, so when I take the dough, and not going to need a very big piece here. So just a bit there. It's very soft and pliable, so I'm going to put that on the board here.
And you said you're not, I mean, these are not meant to be really thick crusts.
Correct. Yes. And when you bake them, it's going to rise a little bit anyway. You don't want real thick, like I said, amount of crust. You want the filling is what's the best on it. So you want to make sure you get that. So we'll just put that in a pie plate here. And then I always just make sure that I kind of get that pressed up a little bit on the side. So when I put the filling in, it doesn't.
So
run
you're
over.
not having it come up to, to the end, the tops of the,
No.
it bakes up that way?
It will bake up somewhat. And again, if you put it up too much to the side, you're going to get a thicker crust there that, you want just more filling and
Okay.
stuff. So we got
So
that one.
you're basically wanting just to cover the bottom of it.
Right. Coming up a little bit on the side, but not a lot.
Okay.
So, and this dough is so nice to work with. It's nice and pliable. It's soft.
Yeah, and it's warm too.
And when I put it in this bowl here, that Tupperware bowl, it has, here, I'll let you bring the sides up a little bit on that. It has a lid on it. When I put that lid on it, it just really makes it poof up. It rises faster. And before long, the lid pops off.
And if you don't catch it, it will go down the sides too.
It'll run over a little bit, but okay. I'm going to get 3 pie plates going. I did put the oven on. It's at 375. We're going to bake that for 15 minutes.
Okay. And this batch, you said roughly is going to make about 18 Kugans.
Yeah, 15 to 20 Kugans, really. Depends upon the size that you're going to use your
And this
pie
isn't,
plates.
I mean, they're not huge. I mean, these are, throwaways if you
Yes.
didn't want to wash them and keep them.
Yeah.
This is about an 8-inch.
It is, right. So just push that up there. And what we're going to do, I have peach filling here. I'm going to put that on one of them. Might have a little bit more than I want there, but a nice amount, like I said. One with peach, and then what I'm actually going to do is prune. Yeah, we'll just get that spread out. And now I'm going to do one with the dry cottage cheese. And when you cook your egg and cream mixture together, it looks kind of like a custard. All right, so now then I will put a little bit of this custard filling on there, on the top, and then just go ahead and spread that out. And that's what I'm about put on is a generous spoonful like this. And you know, with the season coming up for rhubarb, rhubarb Kuchen is really good too. So that's something that as soon as that's ready to be picked, and that you can make a rhubarb Kuchen.
So do you do something different with the filling on that?
I don't. The only thing that I would, just like the cheese mixture there, I'm going to put a little bit more sugar on the cheese one because there's no sweetener on there. And the other ones here with cinnamon sugar, just put a little bit, about, you know, maybe a fourth cup there. Doesn't, you know, we've got quite a bit of sweetener, and we did put there's a little bit of sugar in the cream and egg mixture. So, and your prune and your peach isn't very sour, so you don't need as much on those.
Okay.
So, and yeah, and I get the one for the cottage cheese here.
And you put just a little bit more on the cottage cheese one.
I did just put a little bit more there. Now we heard the oven, and it's already at the 375, so we can just put them in here. There we go. And we're going to put the timer for 15 minutes. And that should be enough, but we'll just double check it, and if it needs a little bit more, it should be well. So,
Okay, sounds good.
well, that's baking. We'll put some more together, but we'll have those to show shortly.
Sounds good.
Country Rose Cafe on East Villard is open for breakfast and lunch 7 days a week. Enjoy daily homemade specials, caramel and cinnamon rolls, several different kinds of homemade pies made fresh every day. Country Rose Cafe is also famous for homemade soup, including their ever-popular Nefla served every Tuesday. While you're in, make sure to pick up your Channel 18 Cooking Crave recipes and like us on Facebook for different specials and announcements. Country Rose Cafe, the way a cafe should be, located at 837 East Villard in Dickinson.
Well, the timer's going off. I just want to let the viewers know we put it in 15 minutes, and I wanted the crust brown a little bit more, so I put it in 3 more minutes. So this is 18 minutes.
Okay.
So we'll take that out there. All right. So we can bring them over here.
Okay.
It's going to be a little bit hot. Probably try to cut into them yet, but we'll just kind of see once how that's going to go. I'm going to just slide that out here so the viewers can see the whole pie plate. And as you see, you know, with not bringing up the crust way to the side,
It
so
still comes up a little bit.
it does, and so you have more than enough here of what you want.
Sure.
So, and last one here is the cottage cheese. There we go. So, should we try to cut into a little bit? Or
I know.
how?
I mean, they're fresh out of the oven. I think the viewers can get a good look at what they do look like.
And what they have a good idea with and stuff. So
They
here we
smell
are,
great.
and yeah, you can definitely smell your bread.
And I mean, you can definitely also use different fruits, like you said.
Absolutely.
Rhubarb's coming up, and what other, have you used other flavors before?
Apricot, apple. Those are pretty much, besides the rhubarb.
Okay,
You know.
what you've used.
Yes.
Yeah. So again, use whatever fruit that you like to make these, and they'll turn out fantastic. Submit your recipes for us to cook for you on the show and get your name into the drawing for a Cooking Crave apron. Always nice to have. Again, thank you to our sponsors, and join us next week when we do it all over again here on Cooking Crave.